Hello, everybody, and welcome to Voices of the Goddess podcast, where we empower, inspire, and uplift women to be the goddesses they were meant to be. I am Julietta, the magical PT. I'm coming to you from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, where I have my own physical therapy practice called Body and Soul PT. And I'm definitely an outside-the-box PT, and I help mostly women, but also men, children of all ages. And I help them bring balance to their body, mind, and soul, because you can't just fix the body on its own. You have to look at the emotional side of things, the soul side of things. If you're not healing that as well, you'll never have true healing in the body. Additionally, I'm an artist, and the art I paint and I create jewelry with crystals, and that also ties into my healing nature. My artwork has a lot of healing symbolism in it, and crystals. I'm obsessed with crystals and the energy that comes from them that supports us in being our best selves. And I'm joined here with my co-host, Allyson.
Hello, everybody. I'm excited to be here today. My name is Allyson Mancini, and I am in South Florida also. Originally a Midwest girl, grew up in Michigan, but I have been down here for 29 years as of next week. A little crazy. I know. And I've been married to my husband for 28 years, and we have two adult children, 25-year-old son and a 22-year-old daughter. And I am human resources director for a company called The Gold Digger Girl. And I'm also a functional nutritionist. And my passion and what I absolutely love doing is helping women be the best they can be when it comes to their well-being. I know firsthand how difficult it can be if you don't feel well, how hard it is to do your job and what you're passionate about and take care of your family and be with your friends and all of those things. So I'm a huge believer in taking care of you first. Put your oxygen mask on first, like you would on a plane, and you will be able to take care of everybody else. And my big thing is I really know firsthand that food can definitely affect your health in the long run. So it's important that you are mindful of what you're putting into your body. So that is my story.
Awesome. Well, this episode is being brought to us by Lyrios Massage and Beyond. Welcome to Intuitive Healing. Whether you are looking to recharge and replenish or just come in for a tune-up and a little work, Lyrios Massage and Beyond aims to support your body using various methods and modalities of massage, skincare, energy healing, and more. Our unique intuitive fusion of East and West provides both structural and energetic realignment. From sports massage and deep tissue to cupping and hot stones, we work with your unique situation to provide healing and relief. Visit our calm oasis right here in paradise. And yes, Lyrios Massage and Beyond is located in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and you can contact them by checking out the show notes. Location and contact information is in there. I cannot recommend Marcia and her team enough. Just amazing, passionate healers. So do yourself a favor and get a massage. And this is a really super amazing special episode. It's episode 100.
What? Who would have ever thought?
Right?
It's awesome.
It seems like just yesterday that we started doing this, and here we are at episode 100.
I know.
So to our listeners out there, we're not going to have a guest on. It's just going to be Allyson and I for this 100th episode. And since we're on season 2 here, and we changed up our questions a little bit. Allyson and I have answered these questions in the past, but because we revamped the questions, we decided it was time to ask each other our new questions.
I agree. So this is really exciting. We have had the pleasure of meeting amazing women, and just so many amazing women, and a few men too. We've had a few men over the 100 episodes. Two. Yep. And we'll have another special man for Father's Day, which I'm excited about that one too. That's very, very special man.
He is.
And I am excited to ask each other these questions because even though some are, well, there's really a couple that are the same, but we change, right? We evolve, we grow, we change. So I'm interested to see, Julietta, how you're going to answer them. And we have new questions, which I feel like I'm going to learn something new even about you. And I've known you for, 7 years now or something like crazy like that. So, okay. Yep. So the first question I'm going to ask it to you first is, what is one book, that you wish every goddess would read and why?
So, as you know, this question is always hard for us because we read so many books, and so it makes it hard for two reasons. A, how do you choose one? Mm-hmm. And B, how do I remember the books I read?
Right? It's so bad.
But so there's different books for different reasons, but I was really thinking about when I would choose for this. And I actually decided on, after rereading them after so many years, The Conversations with God. Read the trilogy. I mean, it's sufficient to read the first one, but reading the trilogy. And so part of how I came to choosing that book was witnessing your experience to reading the book.
Okay.
I read it so many years ago when it came out, and the big thing for me was just completely shifting how I view the world and view how the world functions, and just really opening up my mind to other possibilities other than what the news, the media, everything, church, what that all, rams down your, into your brain is this is truth. And just opening me up to the idea that what everybody else believes, what everybody else tells you is not necessarily the truth. So that's my book and why. I want to know what your book is.
So again, it is very hard because, as you can see, I'm kind of a reader. I love books, and I feel like I'm echoing. Am I echoing?
No.
Okay.
Not on my end.
That's just something must be on my end. Hold on. Let me just mute myself for a second. Okay. That's better. Okay. So this was very tough. Absolutely. But I was trying to think about what was one book that really kind of was the beginning of moving me into the space that I am in now. And I would have to say that book is actually Girl, Wash Your Face by Rachel Hollis. So I picked up that book probably 3 or 4 years ago, I guess right after it came out. It's not been that long, maybe a little bit longer. I don't know. Time mushes together. And the reason that I think it was such a big eye opener for me was because I could relate to her. Like, she was a mom. She was trying to run a business. Like, she was trying to do all the things, and basically was like, just pull it together. Like, just don't make such a big deal out of it. Just do it. Like, I would say that is the biggest thing I got out of that book was don't worry about all the ins and outs and different little, just do it. And I think that kind of moved me into the space to be able to be more open, and it really shifted my energy and how I looked at things, and it enabled me to do this podcast. I think it was kind of like the precursor to helping me to do this podcast, to helping me to go into the world of nutrition, which I had always really wanted to do and had never done. And there goes the dog.
What I'm wondering is, could an alternative title for the book be Put Your Big Girl Panties On?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Okay, I need to let the dog out. Give me 1 second.
Ooh, let the dogs out. Woof, 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 woof. Yeah, this is not a book that I have read, but it comes up often in other people have brought it up in this podcast. So I definitely need to put that book on my list to read, because I have not read it yet, and it's come up often. So
yeah, it's a real, you know what, it's a quick read, but it's really impactful. I mean, listen, Rachel Hollis is where she is because she's no dummy. You know what I mean? Like, she's done amazing things. I know she's had a rough go of it over the last, couple of years, just with life experiences herself. But we all have to go through that stuff. So anyways, yeah, I think that would be, I mean, there's a lot of books I could have named, 10 Conversations with God, the 4 Agreements. Like, I could have gone on and on, but I'm like, what is one book that I feel really has kind of gotten me to where I am right now? And that was the book that first opened my eyes and said, oh, we need to look at things differently, different perspective, shift your energy, basically that book helped me to say, okay, let's put different vibes out there, because you're putting the wrong vibe out, right? And it is so much about what you put out there and what you put into the world. It's what you get back. So, yeah.
Absolutely. So our second question, Allyson, is what is your top self-care practice and how does it support you?
So this is not going to change for me because it is something I have been doing for so long. And I really, if I don't do it, I feel very just unsettled that day, and it's journaling. I just have to journal. Even if even on crazy mornings that I have to be up and ready to go at 7:30 or 8 for whatever, for a meeting or a podcast interview or whatever it is, I just at least have to sit down and get pen to paper for even 10 minutes. For me, it is very, grounding, I guess, feeling writing, that process of writing out. And I always spend the beginning of my journaling is always about what I'm grateful for. And then things that I've accomplished. And then a new thing I started to do is write down people that I want to send love to. Like, maybe there's something that's happening. Like, maybe I'm in a disagreement with my husband, or maybe one of my sisters and I got into an argument, or I don't know, maybe I've got a business situation with a fellow coworker that I'm dealing with, then I will send that person love. And it is amazing how those things just kind of, they work out and they become okay. And so I think for me, that is such a critical part to my day. And the days where I'm just like, maybe I wake up late and I can't get to it, it really throws me off for the day. And I'm sure part of that is my own mindset, but I think journaling for me, hands down, is something that is really something I need to do every day. Like I tell my husband, it's my therapist. It's a lot cheaper than a therapist. So there you go. He was so funny. Wait, the other day, he's like, I tried to read your journal. I'm like, and how was that? He's like, you have horrible handwriting. I'm like, oh, I know. I'm like, I have terrible handwriting. I go, and it's a good thing because you can't read it. He's like, well, what do you even put in there? I go, oh, there's stuff in there about you for sure. Like when you and I've been in a fight or I'm pissed off, I said, but there's also good things about you. I said, there's nothing in my journal he can't read. I mean, we've been together for over 30 years now. I mean, really. But yeah, he was so funny. He's like, he thought he was being all sneaky, like reading my journal. And he's like, I couldn't even read it.
That's hilarious.
That was funny. Okay. So Julietta, how about you? What is your favorite self-care and how does it support you?
So, there's all that usual stuff that we talked about, but right now, what I'm going to say, my favorite self-care practice is making malas.
Oh.
To me, that is a form of meditation itself. I mean, It's a meditation tool, but making the meditation tool is a meditation practice. And what I love, because I use all natural stone beads. And so there's the energy from those crystals that come off and support me. And it's interesting to me too, some days I think, oh, these are the beads I'm going to string. But then when I'm in my box full of beads and I'm like, a different set of beads will call my attention. It's like, I need the energy of that particular bead today. So there's the energy that I get from Mother Earth by working with these beads. The act that it's something that's just it's repetitive and there's no thinking in it. It's like once I've selected what I'm doing, it's just this repetitive act over and over of putting the bead on the string, tying the knot, putting the bead on the string, tying the knot. It's very calming and soothing. And also it's like, it is just like meditation. It's clearing the mind and just being totally present in the moment. And, you know, so if I've had a rough day, I go home and I string some beads and I just feel so much better.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. I think that's awesome. And I have go ahead. I'm sorry. No, you go. Mine can wait.
The other aspect of this is then once it's completed, some of the malas I keep for myself. I just can't let them go. They just are too connected to me. But most of the malas I make, because how many malas can one woman have? So most of the malas that I make, they're available for purchase. But then, you know, so there's the side of it that energy that I strung together is now going to go and support somebody else and help somebody else feel better. And whether some people use them for their meditation. You know, it's 108 beads that you use to say your mantra 108 times, because that's supposedly the most spiritual number. And I say supposedly because I don't believe there's any absolute rules in anything. So whether they use it for meditation, whether they use it, you know, some people don't meditate, they don't understand what a mala is, but it's pretty. And so they just want to wear it, and that's fine. And you can wear it around your neck. You can wrap it around your wrist. But I know that piece that I created is going to help support somebody else feel better as well.
So it's funny you bring that up about wrapping around your wrist. As I was listening to you, I'm like, okay, I just don't wear necklace. I don't really wear jewelry. I've worn the same earrings for like 20 years, and I wear my wedding ring and I wear a watch, and that's it. But I would wear bracelets, and I was like, oh, I need to ask Julietta to make me a mala and a bracelet. Oh, well, I never thought about taking the mala and wrapping it around my wrist as a bracelet. So next time I'm in your office, I'm going to have to check out what you've got on hand. I'm going to have to do that. So, but it also made me, when you were talking about it being meditative, you know, I can't remember who the guest was, but we had a guest on and she was talking about how really you can make about anything that's a repetitive action, a meditative kind of, you know, like she was talking about even if you're in the kitchen and you're cooking. And it made me think, when I was a kid, one of my favorite things to do was latch hooks. Did you ever do latch hook? And I was thinking, as I was listening to you talk, I'm like, why was latch hooking so like calming? Because it was a repetitive, like almost like a meditative thing to do. I would sit for an hour and do a whole latch hook. Maybe I need to go get myself some latch hook. Do they still make that? I don't know. Probably do. No, but your malas are beautiful. They're absolutely beautiful. And I love that, you know, they have a lot, you know, the whole energy behind them. And I think that's awesome. Okay. Are you ready for question 3? Are we on question 3 already?
No, we're on question 3.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Question 3 is, when you're having one of those days when it's difficult to show up, what tool do you pull out of your back pocket to make it happen? This is a hard question.
No, but that's what I just did.
The deep breath. Mm-hmm.
I just breathe.
Mm-hmm.
And in my breathing, I just remind myself that I'm a goddess. I can do anything. And if it's something that has to get done, you know, I breathe and give myself the pep talk and just get her done. Put on my big girl panties. Sometimes I have my Graciela Valdez amazing goddess portrait of myself holding the moon. And I just remind that's who I am, and I can do anything. Mm-hmm. On the flip side of that, I also remind myself, if it's something that doesn't have to get done, I don't always have to push myself and make everything happen. Like, it's okay to take a break and also just breathe. But connecting to the breath. Breath is life. Breath is, some people have talked about movement. Breath is movement. You're moving air through your body. You're moving life force through your body. And so that's the main tool I use, because it's right there.
Yeah, I agree. No, I agree with you. And that really, for me, mine is very similar. And I have the puppy here, feels it's right time right now to play with the ball. So, when I have one of those days, I think that, and I can't remember who shared this with me. It was a few years back, maybe like 5 years ago. And however, we talk about this too. It was just the way she said it that it finally clicked for me. But she said to me, she's like, no one has a great day every day. You're going to have bad days. Like, that's normal. And you need to allow yourself to have a bad day. And I think the one thing that I finally was able to do was, for whatever reason, I wake up that morning and maybe I'm not feeling well. I didn't sleep well. Maybe something happened that week or something's coming up that whatever it is. I always, like, if it's one of those quote unquote those days, I look at my schedule. Okay, what has to get done today? Okay, I know that this, and this has to get done today. And other than that, I'm just going to kind of go with how I'm feeling. Like, I'm just going to do what's feeling right for me at the moment. And I find now that I've allowed myself to do that I'm able to not only better do the things that I need to get done, like those 3 things, but I usually find that within the middle of the day, I'm out of my funk or whatever it was, right? Because I've allowed myself. I haven't been that so rigid and strict and, that type A personality of not like, I have to have a perfect day every day. I have to be in a perfect mood every day, right? Because it's impossible. It's absolutely impossible. So I think for me, it's just giving myself that grace and being okay with it. You're not going to have a great day every single day. So,
all right. Ready for question 4?
I think so. This is probably my toughest question.
Well, the question is, what life experience has formed who you are today?
Well, initially I was going to say what I would have said years ago is my parents' divorce, but I'm actually not going to say that, because when I look at who I am now, that is just something that happened in my past. It's not really who made me who I am right now. So what made me who I am right now, and I think the biggest challenge that I went through, is kind of twofold. Well, maybe threefold, but it really is about my own well-being and my children's. So as you know, my daughter Lexi has 2 pretty serious medical conditions. One she was diagnosed with when she was 1, and one she was diagnosed with when she was 11. And when she was 11, I also was extremely sick. I was in almost complete adrenal failure. It was just a bad time. My husband and I also got separated. We had a lot, it was just a really, really rough time. And I think going through having poor health, going through managing my children and their health crises when they had them, really made me who I am today. I look at 2 particular incidents that I think really kind of catapulted where I'm at. Is the one when Lexi got very sick. She was turned 18, and she was in the hospital, and it was terrible. And she had a fever for over 30 days. It was awful. No one knew. They, to this day, don't have an official diagnosis. We really don't know what she had, other than she was diagnosed with fever of unknown origin, which is an actual diagnosis that I had no clue about. That was extremely scary. And really, for me, I suffered a lot of post-traumatic stress from that, because it was we really thought she wasn't going to make it. So it was a really rough time. And then shortly thereafter, a few years later, my son started to have some serious health issues from some injuries he had incurred during hockey that were very debilitating mentally for him. So going through my own health stuff, watching my children go through it, having the experience of traditional Western medicine, seeing its limitations for chronic illnesses, I guess is the best way to, I think, when I look at it, and moving more into an Eastern way of thinking about medicine, a more alternative, holistic, nutrition side of things, and seeing the benefit of that and how it really can make a difference. It's interesting to me now because now at Julietta, as you know, we're having some situations with our puppy medically, and we are looking at the holistic side of that also because we have, again, exhausted traditional Western veterinarian medicine for him. You know what I mean? So we're trying to look at alternative stuff, nutrition, homeopathic, you know what I mean? So when I look at where I am, who I am now, what I'm doing, the person that I am, it is because of going through all of those experiences with my children and myself. And although I would never want anyone to go through what we went through, including the being separated, because having, when you have major health crisis in your family, whether it's yourself, your spouse, your children, it puts a lot of pressure on your marriage. And so that, led us into a time of separation, but it also led my husband and I to a point where we are now that I don't think we would have gotten to had we not gone through that. So when I look at everything that we went through it and we needed to go through it to get to where we are today. So in all of that, I'm grateful for that. And I'm grateful because I think I have a lot of empathy for parents that are dealing with kids that have chronic issues, for women like you and I that are dealing with chronic issues. I feel that. I really, I have a friend, a coworker, she deals with some chronic issues, and I feel for her. My heart goes out to her. I just want to give her a big hug, and she lives really far away. And, I just try to help her as much as I can. So that was a really long story, but that's really kind of I know it would have been long no matter what. That's a hard question to answer, but I think that's the bottom line is all my health journey is who's made me who I am today. So there you go. Okay, it's your turn. Julietta, it's your turn.
So, and this was the same one because I thought about, should I give a different answer now? There are things along the way that, that veer my path here and there. And, but ultimately everything to me still goes back to me living a year abroad as an 18-year-old in Venezuela as an exchange student. That experience is what really gave me the confidence to know that I can handle anything. Mm-hmm. And, so while I was there, my best friend there was another exchange student from the Netherlands, Annette. She was a guest on our show. Check out that episode. It was awesome.
It was awesome. Yeah. That was
awesome. And she was very much played a role in that, in just her confidence and courage. She just, she planned all this stuff for us to, go and do. And I know had I been there on my own, I would not have had the same experience. Well, of course not, but I don't think it would have changed me as much if she hadn't been there. And, just figuring out bus routes to get us to go anywhere. And, it just, it stretched me to feel confident trying anything. Mm-hmm. Probably I wouldn't have said yes to this podcast had I not spent that year in Venezuela. Mm-hmm. And the other side of that was opening me up to the entire world. Living here in the US, we're all so blessed and lucky. And those of you who have not traveled outside of this country have no idea how blessed and lucky you are. Mm-hmm. I mean, you can see, I remember, seeing the advertisements on TV as a kid about the starving kids and around the world with their bloated bellies. And you're like, oh, but until you actually see that in real life, you just don't know. And also, hearing about how others in this world perceive us living in the US. And, we don't necessarily have a great we haven't made a great impression on the rest of the world. And but also allows me to see we're all humans everywhere on this planet, and we can be completely so different, and at the core of it, we're all still the same. And yeah, there was just so much gained from that year. And I can't even imagine what my life would be like had I not spent that year living in Venezuela.
Yeah. I think that's incredible. We had the opportunity in college to go abroad for a semester, and came from a single mom, and I look back at it now and I'm like, if I really wanted to go, I could have gone. Like, I could have found a way to make it happen. And I wish that I would have had more fortitude to do something like that. But I would say every adult that I know that did something like that as when they were younger, all say, not exactly like you did, but all are like, it was such a huge part of their growing up. My sister was in France for a year. She lived outside of Bordeaux and went to school for, she was a violinist, or she is a violinist. And she says that was like one of the best experiences she had. I mean, I hear that from so many people. I think that's amazing. I love that you did that.
So, our final question.
Okay. Who wants to go first? What's one thing, Julietta, you want our audience to remember from today's episode, from you and I being on here?
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say that everyone needs to know it's okay to have a bad day, and that not every day has to be a great day, a perfect day. You don't have to feel amazing every single day, because it ain't going to happen.
No.
So just be okay with it. Instead of resisting it, be okay with it.
Mm-hmm. Takes a lot of pressure off. When you're okay with it, it makes it not such a big deal anymore, right?
Exactly. Mm-hmm. That goes down to what we resist persists. So if you're resisting having a bad day, it's just going to get worse and worse.
Mm-hmm.
You just surrender to it and be okay with it. It's going to ease up.
Yep. Okay, mine would be something that we hear often on this show, and that I wish my younger Allyson would have been okay with a long time ago, but it is that you are never, ever too old to start something new or to change your journey, ever. I think that is one thing that I know for our generation, it was such a thing that you had a course of life, and that's what you stuck to. And I think even more so for our parents' generation. Like, I look at my parents, like, you did that thing you were supposed to do. Yeah. That's not so much the case anymore. I find a lot more of our young people are okay with doing different things. But I am just so like, and let me rephrase that. I had this fear when I was young that I was too young. When I got older, it was too late and I was too old. And I just want to dispel both of those myths. You're never too young to do something, and you're never too old to do something. Like, you just need to do what you feel passionate about, feels right to you. Because if you're getting that, this whole thing with this podcast, it was just a thing that Julietta and I are like, we want to support other women, and we want to do something that will support these women, that we can give back to the community. And that's what we did. And here we are on our 100th episode. So, and we had no clue what we were doing. None. Thankfully to our amazing producer, Jess, for making us sound good and, getting us connected with all of our guests and helping us with all of that. But truly, Julietta and I had no clue what we were doing. We just figured it out. So
everything is figure-outable.
That's right. It is. Marie Forleo. Everything is figure-outable. All right. Well, would you like to wrap us up?
I'll wrap this up by saying thank you, Allyson, for being on this journey with me. It is so much fun. So much fun. And also a special thank you to Lirios Massage and Beyond for sponsoring this episode. If you're in the Fort Lauderdale area and need a massage, a facial, pampering to your body, check them out. You can find their contact information in the show notes. And thank you to our audience, because without you, we would not be here on episode 100. And thank you all for your feedback and for listening. Like I said, we know we wouldn't be here without you. So thank you so much for tuning in. And please continue to follow, subscribe, like, and share this with other goddesses, because some of the stories we hear about how much an episode has impacted somebody else, you never know what one thing being said, how it can change somebody else's life. So please share this with all the women that you care about.
And give us reviews. Reviews are important too. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Reviews are important. And reviews, that's a good place. Like you said, we've had a few women that have come to you and said, hey, because of that episode, I now did this. Like, we want to hear that stuff. We want to see that. So drop it in the reviews on iTunes, whatever you use, iHeart, Spotify, all that stuff, whatever you use to listen to, because we're on all of them.
Awesome. So with that, I want to wish everybody a magical day.